Hello, everyone, and welcome to Foundations of Western Culture, or better, welcome to my kitchen. This is where I will be burning that midnight oil, grading your papers, and facilitating discussion posts. My name is Professor Thomas. You can call me Allie. I have been teaching at Lee for the better part of almost 5 years now. I am a Lee University graduate. I studied the humanities, and some of the mentors and professors that I had when I was a student are now my colleagues who are helping contribute to this course, who are creating the content for this course. So I'm incredibly excited to be working with them in this capacity and to deliver some of the lessons and the material that was so impactful for me whenever I was an undergraduate at Lee. I am a Tennessee native from the Nashville, Clarksville area. I keep finding myself coming back to the Chattanooga area ever since going to Lee. I've really fallen in love with East Tennessee. I did my master's degree at the University of St. Andrews in Scotland, where I was able to study and have amazing discussion with theological heavyweights of our time, such as N.T. Wright, looking at the intersection of art and theology in particular. The institute that I was a part of was known as ITIA, the Institute for Theology, Imagination, and the Arts. So my particular interest lies in that intersection, and you will see me bringing that to the discussion weekly. I can't help myself but find some sort of artistic or filmic reference to bring to almost every discussion. Um, so there's two things that I'm really passionate about, just sort of to give you an idea of who I am. That way, we can sort of get together on this personal level at the beginning of the semester. I encourage you all as well in the beginning weeks of the course to really get to know each other and reach out to each other and use each other as resources. So a bit about myself, as I mentioned earlier, I am incredibly passionate about theology and the humanities. In particular, I really like to study the expression of faith in post-secular literature and post-secular film. So if you have seen any films by David Lynch or Terrence Malick, those are directors that are particularly interesting to me, and you might notice me referencing them or suggesting that you watch some of their films throughout the term if I find that it's fitting just enough where I can insert it into the discussion. Something else that I'm incredibly passionate about, if I'm not teaching or reading or involved in some sort of research or discussion, is working with wildlife. So I do a lot of wildlife rehabilitation while I volunteer in wildlife rehabilitation, mostly working with possums and songbirds, and feel very strongly about having a sense of stewardship over animals and over wildlife and over nature. So I will share stories with you throughout the semester, maybe about a cute animal that we've rehabbed or some sort of experience that I have had in the past week. As I briefly sort of mentioned earlier, I have taught many classes at Lee before. This class in particular, I have taught in person at Lee. But I'm excited to be collaborating with Dr. Wilfert, who was a professor of mine back whenever I was an undergraduate. And we're going to be delivering some incredible content heavy information this semester. We'll be looking at literature, art, and philosophy that constitutes the foundation of the Western world. Um, so this sounds really intimidating, right? The attempt to endeavor on a sort of whirlwind tour of representative works of ancient literature, philosophy, and art within their historical context that gave rise to them is a lot to do in just a short time period. So as we study these texts, we're really only going to be focusing on some major sort of transitional works or transitional philosophical periods, and then noticing how those texts sort of form a reaction or an extension to dominant philosophical ideas or movements that come prior to them. So we're going to try and create a sort of broad philosophical, literary, historical timeline that will really enable you to see the importance of cultural and historical context as we explore central questions within the major texts that we'll be reading. Now, I'd like to end my little introductory video here today with a quote from St. Augustine's City of God. This is a text that I read in my capstone course at Lee that really propelled my studies and continues to sustain my studies, specifically on this idea of finding beauty and traces of God in places where perhaps it wouldn't seem immediately evident or prevalent. So here is this quote, and we'll end on this. And once again, please feel free to reach out to me via email or text if you have any questions. I want to make sure you have a great jumpstart to the course this semester, and I'm really excited to getting to know each and every one of you. Now, we are human beings created in our Creator's image, whose eternity is true, whose truth is eternal, whose love is eternal and true, who is a trinity of eternity, truth, and love without confusion or separation. And the constituents of the world which are inferior to us could not exist at all, could not have shape or form, could not aspire to any ordered pattern or keep that pattern, had they been created by him who supremely exists, had they not been created by him who supremely exists, and who is supremely wise and who is supremely good. Therefore, let us now run over these things which he created in such wonderful stability to collect the scattered traces of his being, more distinct in some places than in others. And let us gaze at the image in ourselves, and returning to ourselves, like the younger son in the gospel story, let us rise up and go back to him from whom we have departed in our sinning. There our existence will have no death, our knowledge no error, our love no obstacle. So this is what I like to imagine myself doing in my studies, and what I hope as a team and as a group we can all do together this semester is look over the scattered traces of his being, and whatever it is that we are reading, whatever discussion it is that we are having, what are the glimpses, even though we might see, through a glass darkly, what are the glimpses that we do see of his being? What sort of truth can we garner from a text, even if it is not something maybe that explicitly seems to have that sort of message at the forefront. So I'm really excited to get this semester started. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day and a great first week. And please feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions. Thank you.